Today I'll begin by introducing Australian athletics and outlining its role within the Australian sporting landscape. Australian athletics is the national governing body responsible for athletics in Australia, including track and field, road running, cross country, and race walking. It oversees participation pathways from grassroots and school level involvement through to elite international competition. Within the Australian sports system, Australian athletics operates across the three-sector model of sport development, involving the public sector through government funding and policy support, the non-profit sector through community clubs and volunteers, and lastly the commercial sector through sponsorships and media partnerships. The organisation works closely with state and territory member associations to deliver programs nationally and ensure accessible participation opportunities. It is also affiliated with World Athletics and the Australian Olympic Committee, reinforcing its role in elite performance pathways. Importantly, Australian athletics focuses not only on high-performance success but also on promoting health, physical activity, and lifelong participation in sport. As outlined in the Australian Athletic Strategic Plan, the organisation aims to build a nationally connected athletic system that supports participation, inclusion, and long-term athlete development. Moving into the organisation's strategic vision and goals, Australian athletics places a strong emphasis on participation, inclusion, and sustainability across all levels of the sport. Its mission and vision focus on increasing participation nationwide, creating inclusive and accessible athletics environments, and developing clear pathways from grassroots participation through to elite international competition. To support this vision, Australian Athletics has developed several key strategic priorities, including growing junior and grassroots participation, strengthening diversity, equity, and inclusion, improving athlete wellbeing and development pathways, and enhancing organisational sustainability and leadership capacity. These priorities respond to community and structural inequalities in sport participation. Australian Athletics recognises that access to sport is not equal across regions and demographics. As a result, there is a focus on expanding regional and remote participation opportunities, increasing female participation and leadership representation, and supporting culturally diverse and underrepresented groups. Overall, this demonstrates that the organisation's strategy is not solely focused on elite performance, but also on social impact and community development. It reflects modern sport development principles that prioritise inclusion, accessibility, and long-term participation growth alongside competitive success. Australian Athletics supports its strategic vision through a range of community engagement programs designed to increase participation and strengthen local sporting communities. One key program is School Athletics and Little Athletics, which introduces children to the sport from an early age. These programs build strong grassroots participation pathways through school carnivals and junior competitions. They are essential in creating positive early sporting experiences and encouraging lifelong involvement in physical activity. Another important initiative is Run Active, a community-based program that promotes running, fitness, and physical activity across all age groups and abilities. This extends athletics beyond traditional competition and supports broader public health and well-being outcomes while increasing engagement in the sport. Australian Athletics also invests in coaching development programs, offering accredited pathways that allow coaches to progress from community-level coaching through to elite performance environments. This strengthens athlete development and improves leadership capacity within clubs. In addition, volunteer programs play a critical role in grassroots sport. Australian Athletics supports the recruitment, training, and retention of volunteers who are essential to running the competitions and community events. Together, these initiatives demonstrate a strong commitment to accessibility, inclusion, participation, and long-term community development. And now I'll pass over to Leanne.
Australian Athletics estimates that more than 455,000 Australians participate in athletics annually, supported by thousands of coaches and community volunteers. Programs focused on inclusion and accessibility are also creating positive outcomes. Athletics for the Outback has reached 65 remote communities across Western Australia, Queensland, and the Northern Territory, helping increase participation opportunities in regional areas. Junior athletics participation has seen an increase of 16% in 12 months, with Tiny Tots participation for children aged 3 to 5 rising by 33%, showing strong grassroots growth. The Pathway Transition Program has also expanded to support 100 athletes in 2025, helping strengthen athlete development pathways. However, regional and remote communities still face barriers, including limited facilities, coaching shortages, and travel costs, showing that continued investment is still needed to improve equitable access to participation activities. Athletics Australia places a strong focus on inclusion and diversity across all levels of participation. One major focus is increasing opportunities for women and girls through participation, coaching, officiating, and leadership initiatives. Clearinghouse for Sport research highlights that women's participation improves when organisations provide visible leadership pathways and inclusive environments. Athletics Australia also supports First Nation participation pathways that connect community sport with elite opportunities while promoting culturally inclusive participation. Para-athletics programs provide integrated competition pathways and shared training opportunities that improve accessibility for athletes with disabilities. The organisation also promotes multicultural participation and pride in sport initiatives to create safe and inclusive environments for culturally diverse and LGBTQIA+ communities. While these initiatives strengthen equitable participation, barriers can still exist in some regional and lower socio-economic communities. Sport inclusion programs have important ethical and community implications. Athletics Australia promotes sport as a vehicle for social justice, equity, and community inclusion, recognising the responsibility sporting organisations have to provide fair participation opportunities. These initiatives strengthen social connection, community cohesion, and physical and mental well-being, while also improving cultural understanding and community identity. Clearinghouse for Sport research highlights that leadership representation and inclusive governance remain important issues across Australian sport, particularly regarding women in leadership. However, challenges remain. Financial costs linked to training, travel, and competition can limit participation, particularly in regional communities. Volunteer burnout and unequal access to facilities and resources also continue to affect grassroots sports sustainability. Leadership plays a critical role in the long-term sustainability of Athletics Australia. The organisation operates through a board of directors and chief executive officer, supported by operational areas including high performance, participation and development, commercial operations, and governance. This structure allows Athletics Australia to coordinate national strategic priorities while working collaboratively with state and territory associations, clubs, coaches, athletes, and volunteers across Australia. A significant leadership development announced this year was the integration of Athletics Australia and Little Athletics Australia into a unified national structure. This creates a clearer participation and athlete development pathway from tiny tots through to elite, Olympic, senior, and masters athletics. This unified structure strengthens leadership consistency, strategic coordination, and long-term athlete development across all levels of the athletic sport. I'll hand over to Jackson to discuss further.
Leadership and organizational culture play an important role in the success and community impact of sports organizations such as Australian Athletics. Strategic leadership focuses on creating long-term goals, planning for the future, and ensuring that programs within Australian Athletics align with the organization's mission and values. Effective leaders help the organization respond to social and community needs while also maintaining long-term sustainability and supporting athlete development pathways across Australia. Transformational leadership is important because it inspires and motivates athletes, staff, volunteers, coaches, and community members involved in Australian athletics. This style of leadership encourages positive social change, inclusion, innovation, and stronger relationships within the organization. Leaders help create an environment where people feel supported and connected to the goals and vision of Australian athletics. Ethical leadership is also essential within sports organizations, such as Australian Athletics. Ethical leaders promote professionalism, accountability, and fair decision-making. Leaders act as a positive models for stakeholders and help establish standards of behavior throughout the organization. This creates trust, respect, and stronger organization integrity within Australian athletics. Organization culture refers to the shared values, behaviors, and expectations within the organization. Within Australian athletics, a positive culture can strengthen teamwork, communication, athlete well-being, and stakeholder relationship while also improving the organization's public reputation and overall success. Overall, overall strong leadership and organization culture help Australian athletics achieve its strategic goals while also creating positive outcomes for athletes, local communities, and wider Australian supporting industries. Strategy, leadership, and community engagement are all closely connected within sports organizations such as Australian athletics. Strategic plans help Australian athletics establish long-term goals and identify priorities such as inclusion, participation, sustainability, athlete well-being, and community development. However, these goals can only be achieved when leadership effectively implements them through programs, decision-making, and organizational actions. Leadership plays an important role in connecting strategy with community outcomes. Leaders within Australian athletics guide staff, athletes, coaches, and volunteers while ensuring that organizational values are reflected in community engagement initiatives. Inclusion programs and community athletics activities often reflect both the organization's strategic priorities and the ethical values promoted by leadership. Community programs also strengthen relationships between Australian athletics and its stakeholders. Through participation in initiatives, partnerships with schools and clubs, and inclusion strategies, Australian athletics can create stronger connections with local communities and improve its social impact across Australia. Organizational culture further supports the relationship by encouraging collaboration, participation, and shared responsibilities throughout the organization. A strong culture helps ensure that everyone involved in Australian athletics works towards the same goals and values. Ultimately, long-term organizational success and sustainability depend on alignment between strategy, leadership, and community impact. When these three areas work together, Australian athletics is better able to support both elite sporting success and positive social change within the community. Overall, Athletics Australia plays an important role in growing and developing athletics across the country. Through its strategic goals, community programs, and focus on inclusion, the organization helps create opportunities for people of all ages and backgrounds to participate in sport. It also supports athletes in progressing from grassroots participation through to elite competition. Overall, Athletics Australia continues to have a positive impact on both the sporting community and Australian society. That'll do it.